Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here, and I am back with another awesome conversation with someone doing big time things in the insurance space. I am here with someone who's no stranger to our channel, somebody that I've had on multiple times, somebody that I've gotten to know over the past year and a half or so, and somebody I have great affection for. I'm here with Shauna Thoresen of Social Waves Media, and Shauna is a digital marketing, Facebook ads aficionado. She brought the house down at the one and only Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit back in June in Savannah. We thought that we were going to have to bring the firefighters in there, right, guys, to put out the fire after she got off the stage. So, Shauna, thank you for being here. Appreciate your
I will
time, as
take that
always.
intro in like any day. Thank you so much. And yes, your Seven Figure Medicare Summit, the entire event was so amazing because it was just so value based. And I loved meeting you, your team, and just meeting so many wonderful agents. You just attract the best people, and it was so uplifting to be around that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that. That's ultimately the environment we always want at our events, and so I'm always grateful to be able to hear that. So we have a lot of things to discuss today, Shauna, and a lot of really good topics, and probably not a ton of time to do it in. First off, I wanted to kind of give you the opportunity, just in case anybody's watching this and they aren't familiar with you, they're not familiar with your trainings or your courses. Can you give us a quick introduction to you and your company and kind of what it is that you do?
Sure, absolutely. So I first started running paid social media ads for clients in 2016, and I was focusing primarily on social media lead generation. And in 2017 is when I launched my own marketing agency. And then it was in 2022 that I got brought into your world. I had an insurance agent whose lines of business were Medicare and ACA come to me for an ad audit. And that's where I'll take a look at what's going on in the back end of someone's account and help them make certain optimizations. And in that one meeting, we were able to, once we relaunched his ads, reduce his cost per lead by 75%. And I have seen that in your industry for insurance agents, running insurance lead generation ads actually don't have to be super complicated. And
Mhm.
agents are smart enough and more than capable of learning how to be fully self-sufficient at managing their own ads and understanding how the back end works. And so that's how my course Insurance Click to Close was born in 2022. And after working with hundreds of agents through my course and my membership, I have just fallen in love with working with agents that are determined to make their business blow up and to become seen as more than just an agent and actually be seen as an advisor to their community. So that's how we ended up meeting too.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I love it. I think one thing that I'm always interested in, anytime I get a chance to talk to someone like you that's so proficient in running ads and digital marketing in general, is that there's a lot of common misconceptions. I remember I had a friend years ago that came from the outside business world and running a marketing firm, and he came into the insurance world, kind of, so it's kind of similar story, and started working with agents. And one thing I remember, I'll never forget this, what he told me is he's like, I've never seen another industry where people are just expecting like an absolute guarantee result on their advertising and their marketing as I do seem to with insurance agents. It is kind of a funny thing. I remember myself, I had a conversation with an agent one time and I was like, I'm like, if you really want to learn ads, I'm like, my experience has been, I've been, learning how to run Facebook ads and running ads for our agency for 6 years now. And my experience has been, it's a long-term game. You never stop learning. You're a student, but sometimes you have to be able to put something out there and take a chance and learn from it and test it, look at your metrics, look at your analytics, be willing to tweak things. And he was like, I never forget his response. He's like, well, that's not what it sounds like from the people I'm talking to. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? You're not going to have an out of the box ad necessarily. So, like, what are some misconceptions that you've seen from agents when it comes to lead generation and running ads?
Okay, so there are so many misconceptions, and it's not the agents or any other entrepreneur's fault for having these misconceptions because we live in a world where everyone wants there to be a magic pill. You want to take a pill to lose weight. You want to buy this one system to get rich quick. You want to like implement this easy thing to get leads nonstop flowing in from the very beginning. We all want to believe that that's out there, and there are a lot of marketers that profit off of that. And there are some solutions that actually will get you a very short term quick fix, just like a weight loss pill or something like that. But that's not going to sustain you long term. And so while I'm not quite as glamorous and as flashy in the reality that I share with agents, I like to share information that I believe they deserve to know. And I do look at this as a long-term plan. The two things that stop new advertisers from succeeding is one, having the wrong mindset. Having the mindset that it is the platform's duty to instantly get them results. If they want leads, it's the
Yes.
platform's duty.
Yep.
And in reality, the platform is an opportunity for you to get your content and your messaging in front of their people. That's what you're actually buying to get this platform's people's eyeballs on your stuff and to grow yourself as an agent, as a brand. And the other one is giving up before giving it a chance. You guys are in an industry that you already know 92% fail. You know that 92, 93, whatever the stat is. Most agents are going to fail. And if you're an agent that's determined to make it work and stick it out and go through all the ups and downs, the rewards can be overwhelmingly positive. And it's the same thing with Facebook ads. Most campaigns fail, most advertisers fail, but just having the mindset that you're going to push through until you figure it out, having the right tools and actually knowing what you're doing, obviously, you're not just throwing spaghetti on a wall, but having that mindset of I'm going to push through because I might have 10 failed campaigns, but if I get the one that actually works, it can transform the entire trajectory of my business for forever.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's such a powerful and important message, I think, for agents to learn. You're so right. Everybody wants the easy, quick fix, like it's like everybody wants the Ozempic of Facebook ads to put it lightly, I guess. And
Yes.
it's one of those things where I feel like you can definitely tell if somebody, I don't know if feel this way, but I've felt like when I'm working with an agent or I see them start to learn ads, I can usually get a pretty good idea. No, it's not always perfect, but like I can get a pretty good idea of how well they're going to do with it based on kind of their attitude going into it. You know what I mean? Like how patient are they with learning the process, and how willing are they to test? How willing are they to get their setup looking right? How willing are they to structure their copy and everything else, right? And you can usually kind of see that, kind of going in. If and sometimes it's not as obvious, but sometimes there's agents where, you know, they're impatient, like right off the get-go. I'm like, this isn't gonna probably go well for you.
Yes, I like to say amateurs are obsessed with cost per lead, but experts are obsessed with why the cost per lead is what it is
Hmm.
and how to zoom out and look at what that situation means for your business long term. Like if the cost per lead is awesome, like obviously that's extremely important. But if it's awesome and it's great, we want to understand why so we can replicate that and allow us to actually be able to grow. If it doesn't do well, then I like to say there's no losing, there's only learning. And when you actually know how to read the metrics and the data and the key elements that are important to you as an agent, you will be able to understand why this ad sucked or why this didn't go very well and decipher that and be able to grow from that and try a different approach.
So that kind of inspires a question that I think, would be helpful for the audience. What do you feel like are the most important metrics for someone to look at with ads? Is it, I know you mentioned cost per lead. Is it cost per acquisition? Is it, what do you feel like is the most important metrics for agents to be looking at with their campaigns?
This video is sponsored by none other than Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes is going to be your one-stop shop when it comes to your Medicare and final expense needs. People ask me all the time, Christian, what type of lead is going to be the best quality for me to work? And I don't really quite know if the answer is going to be a digital marketing lead, a direct mail lead, or a telemarketed lead, but I can say that a telemarketed lead is going to be up there with the best of them in terms of quality. A telemarketed lead has unique quality to it because there's a live person that actually speaks to the prospective customer and gets their verbal consent that they're interested and willing to speak with a licensed agent just like you. Whether it be a pre-scheduled Medicare appointment with a scope of appointment captured and then scheduled on your calendar 48 hours out, or whether it be a custom calling campaign where you call the shots, where your scripts are used, where it's the areas of your choosing, when it's the times of the day that you're choosing. Custom calling is where you pay by the hour, and essentially it's a custom campaign built to your liking. Lead Heroes has got you covered for all of these unique type of marketing needs for agents. There's a link down in the description of this video about Lead Heroes. You can learn more about these incredibly unique lead generation services, and I think you'll want to check it out today so you can continue to grow and explode your business.
So in the back end of the ads manager, there's 350 different metrics and data points. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I actually have in one of my presentations where I scroll through what all of the different the metrics you can look at is and go all the way across. It's insane. There's about 15 metrics that I teach agents to really look at, but then there's 4 that can really help you dissect what's going on. And I would say first, of course, you look at the cost. You do look at the cost per lead, what that average is going to be. Because at the end of the day, if you're happy with that, you don't make any other changes. But you also look at things such as the CPM, and the CPM in a nutshell means the cost per meal, which in Latin means cost for 1,000. Technically, when you pay Facebook to put your ads in front of people, you're getting charged for every 1,000 eyeballs that look at your ads. And there's a lot of different factors that go into determining what the CPM is. Some of them are outside of your control. It's just like apples might be one price in the fall because they're in season, but if you really want this specific type of apple in May, it's going to be more expensive because it's been imported. So sometimes it's also how many advertisers are trying to get in front of those same eyeballs. That's going to drive it up. But also, if you have an ad creative that users don't interact with and get off of the platform after seeing, Facebook's entire moneymaker is keeping people on the platform. So if you are the cause of people getting off the platform, they'll serve your content, but they're going to charge you for it. So looking at that CPM can give you an idea of what your cost, the audience cost is. And then the other one that I take into account a lot is the link click-through rate. It's the percentage of individuals that are actually clicking on the link of your ad, because that's the entire goal. You want people to look at the ad, click on it, interact with it. But if your ad copy isn't getting them to click on the link, then you know that there is an issue with the actual ad getting them to take that action. And then the very last but not least, not go too into the weeds, because I could talk about this all day. This stuff is this is the fun part for me. I love dissecting it. Is then you want to look at what the landing page, or if you're using a lead generation form, which is what I primarily teach agents, you want to look at what that form conversion rate is. How many people clicked on the link, got to the form, and then converted? Because if your form conversion rate is really low, but your link click-through rate is really high, we know that the ad copy is getting them to click. So now we know that the issue is either synergy between the two. Do they get along where a user knows when I clicked on this ad, I'm going to be taken to this form? Or is there something wrong with the verbiage that's in the form? So then we fix that piece and then go on. So I love that you can kind of dissect each little section of it and decide to make educated hypothesis on what you're going to test next.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly powerful. And I think it's interesting once somebody really gets in and they really start to learn, kind of what all of those different metrics mean, that they can usually accurately take a look at an ad. And if it's not performing, they can usually tell exactly why. Like you said, right? Like if, let's say people are clicking at a high rate to the ad, but they're not converting, maybe it's the landing page, not the ad, right? Because the ad's sending them where it needs to go, but the landing page isn't converting, or something. Or if they're not clicking at all, then it's the ad, because people are converting. And so I think it's super powerful understanding those metrics, because then you can really, like you said, you can accurately kind of predict what needs to happen on your ad. I was talking to an agent one time and they're like, well, you talk about, they heard me say on a video one time, they're like, they're like, Christian, you talk about, you know, being willing to tweak the ad. How do I even know what's working? How do I even know what's not working? And it's like, that right there is the answer. It's understanding those metrics and knowing how to look at them and analyze kind of what you're seeing.
Exactly. And it's about when I'm teaching agents how to run ads, I have 4 different testing strategies that I lay out. If this is what's going on, then this is what you could test, and here's how you implement it. And I always say the number one rule is if you're happy with the results, you don't touch anything. Even if you're like, oh, I could maybe tweak, we're not tweaking anything. We're going to let it keep running as long as you're happy with it. But knowing how to actually implement the testing and having actual strategies versus hacks and tips can make all the difference.
I love it. One thing I wanted to kind of pick your brain on and, have you share with the audience your thoughts on is I feel like we're going into a time where I think the best time to learn ads and how to run ads is probably yesterday, but the next best time is now, right? And I think you could make an argument that we're entering a time where it's more necessary than probably any other time, especially for our industry, because of new regulations passing, right? Like the new FCC rule, right? Talk about how things like that are going to impact people's ability to buy leads in a traditional sense, hire marketing companies, because I think when agents really start to understand what those rules mean, it changes a lot of things and it makes it a lot more attractive to be able to just generate your own leads.
It does. It's my favorite clients that I'm even running ads for are the clients that truly understand how Facebook ads work and ask the right questions. So as agents move into this time, even if they make the decision that they don't want to have to run their own ads, they want to hire someone, it's so empowering to actually know the right questions to ask or to be able to go in the ads manager yourself and see what's actually happening. I think that it is so interesting and shocking that your industry is told, you tell people you can learn all of these complexities of understanding a plan and how to navigate a consult and how to move people to the right plan and make a sale, but you can't bring in your own leads. It's just too complicated. Like you definitely can't handle the top of the funnel of bringing people in. Let us give you people. So I think as your industry has started to transform over the years, it's going to become more and more of a necessary skill set for agents to understand, even if in the long run they make the decision to outsource it in some way. And I understand that that can be a little bit overwhelming and not fun in the beginning, but it's really because there's so much mystery behind it and it seems so overly complicated. And this is a skill set that anyone that wants to learn can. Mm-hmm. And I like to always say that Facebook ads, I always use the analogy that it is a tool just like a paintbrush. And anyone can pick up a paintbrush, slap some paint on a canvas and say, I made a painting. But then some people will hone in this skill set and be able to paint something that you can tell it's a flower or it's an ocean or whatever. And then others truly master it and are able to create like true art that everyone thinks is beautiful. And it's all with the exact same tool. And if you buy these short-term fixes, like a plug and play ad that is just so generic and has your typical like main photo and it only is like, hey, do you want to talk to us? We offer free consults. If you buy that, that's just like buying a paint by numbers painting. Like at the end of the day, you're not going to develop anything. You created a rose, but now if you change the decor of your house, you don't know how to recreate that in a different color and evolve. So now you're going to have to go buy another one. You're never going to truly own it. So I'm passionate about any entrepreneur, but especially agents, understanding that even if they decide to get someone that's going to help or a team member, like they decide to have their team members start running ads or something like that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it makes me think of something that one of my mentors told me one time years ago when I was first starting to kind of learn marketing myself, because I started learning sales as an agent, as a sales guy. And then I started realizing like, I don't have to push so hard on the sales side if I get better at marketing and I learn how to market, right? And And, I started learning marketing. One of my mentors told me one time, somebody in the space, that was a really successful marketer, he said, you might notice the only people that get ripped off by marketing agencies are people that know nothing about ads. And I'm like, that's very true. Because I think to your point, if you at least take the time to learn how to run ads and you learn about marketing, you're going to be able to spot foul play a mile away. You're going to be able to spot it. You're going to know what to look for if you do later down the road decide to bring somebody in on your team, or you work with an agency, right, to take it off your plate. But you're savvy enough to where somebody's not going to be able to pull the wool over your eyes because you know what to look for. And I think that's so important. So like, even for the people watching that think, I'd rather just outsource it, I'd rather bring somebody else in for it, there's such a higher chance that you might find yourself in a bad situation. And you also will know who to hire, right? You'll be able to spot the people that are maybe better quality versus the people that aren't. You'll know what questions to ask. And so, I mean, that's something that doesn't get talked about enough, but I think it's really valuable because, it's the most naive and the most gullible people that get scammed, right?
It sure is. And then those are the Medicare agents that I end up getting hired to do an ad audit. Like my very first, after speaking at my first conference, I had people that were coming to me. They were like, we want you to do an ad audit. And I had one Medicare agent that was getting leads for like, I don't know, it was something ridiculous, like $2.10 or like $1.70. And I was like, how am I going to help this guy? Like, we'll never get leads less than that. And the problem was he was getting a ton of leads, but no one would answer the phone. No one would talk to him. He wasn't getting conversions. And when I went in, they were making a ton of mistakes in the way that the campaign was set up. It was only one ad creative, but the ad creative didn't even talk about Medicare insurance. It literally was about how you could qualify for additional income from Social Security. It had a picture of a check on it. So of course people are like, duh, I want to like get in there and like find out. So I was like questioning myself of I'm going to come in and help this person I can't get people Medicare leads for that price. Like I know I can't. And then I saw why. You can if you bait and switch. And from an outsider's point of view, this marketer that he had running his ads was killing it. Like he had a beautiful vanity metric. But when you zoom out and look at the business, it did nothing for his brand. It did nothing for his bottom line. It was just a waste of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great example because, on the outside, everybody thinks, oh, it's the dream, right? $1.50 per lead, $2 per lead. But, it's a bait and switch. If anything, it might have hurt his brand with certain people. They might have looked at it like, oh, this is some scammy business, or something like that. So I think that's a really good example. Shauna, I want to be respectful of your time, but I just wanted to have you quickly kind of talk about your course. I know it's kind of gone through a bit of a remaking process, right? And a little bit of an updated process. So talk about it a little bit. What is new in the course and how can people learn more about it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm sure that you will have the link to the information page listed below. So you can check it out. It's got lots of information. My favorite part is the testimonials from agents that have moved through the course. That makes me extremely happy because I do genuinely care about having the best content out there for agents. So in having a Facebook ads course, I've had to accept the fact that the only thing consistent with Facebook is nothing is consistent. It's always changing. But I will tell you, it is like learning how to surf on a wave. Like you can learn how to surf and then you're going to get different waves and you're going to be able to continuously be able to adapt to that. So it's not like once you learn it, you have to relearn it all of the time. You'll be able to make little adjustments. But I'm always keeping the course up to date. And the students that are already enrolled in the course will always get access to updates. And this year, there were some big changes in just the AI alone, the way that audience targeting is happening. It's been a big change. So that caused me to shut down the course, and I updated about 99% of the videos that are inside of it. But I always pride myself on, I want to give agents what they need, not necessarily what they think that they want. So instead of giving you short-term fixes, I want to give you all of the information and the content to be able to grow yourself into owning that front end of your funnel of attracting the right people. And while I say it's good for you to learn, even if you want to outsource it, the reality is most agents, once they learn this, they're spending 15 minutes every other week checking in on their ads, and they've got something that's like working. So it's not something that most people, once they learn this, they're like, okay, I'm just going to stick to it. Occasionally, it does make sense if you're wanting to switch things out all the time. But yeah, it just went through a major overhaul of just making sure that there are updates. I added 3 different T65 strategies, from the easiest one to a little bit more complicated one to actually specifically targeting individuals on their birthday with an ad that is specific to that birthday month. So you can say, are you turning 65 in January? And it only targets those individuals. So I'm really excited about the different strategies, just the way that it's grown, and always just trying to provide what agents say that they want to have in the course. That's my main goal.
Well, I love it. I love it. Your course is fantastic. I've said it before on the channel, but if anybody didn't know, this is a course that I actually bought myself, went through as a student, and I picked up some things that I didn't know, and I picked up some little tips that were extremely helpful for me. And I thought that the way that Shauna goes about explaining is the best that I've seen. It's very, very detailed, and there's nothing that's just kind of swept over to where it's hard to understand. So it's a really, really good investment, you guys. Of course, we'll throw the link down to it in the description of this video. Highly recommend it if you have interest in learning how to do Facebook ads. I've been through a lot of Facebook ads courses. I've spent God knows how much money I've spent on Facebook ads courses, because I'm always wanting to get better. I'm wanting to learn. I'm wanting to continue to round out my own skill set with it and get better. But oftentimes I'll buy a course and, it's either poor or, I don't learn anything. Shauna's was one of the few that I've gone through, especially recently, that I learned a great deal from. So highly recommend it. Again, we'll throw the link down to it in the description, and highly recommend you guys check it out. Shauna, thank you for your time, by the way. This was fun. I always enjoy our conversations, and we will certainly have to do one again very, very soon.
I agree. I always love talking about this. And if any agents have any questions, that helps us know exactly what you want us to talk about next time. So I love answering questions. So drop them in.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Throw those questions down in the comments, and we'll have some fodder for the next time, and maybe we'll even, slide an answer under your comment. Guys, if you like this video, you made it all the way to the end. Appreciate you. Appreciate your dedication, right, to getting through the content in your own development. Make sure to like the video. It helps more people just like you find the video who need to hear the information. Again, comment below, subscribe. We bring you weekly videos, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.